Sports
The place is here and the time is now. Let's take it round for round. And people gather round. Let's see who can win the crown. All the marbles involved. Football, baseball, or golf. Who's dominating the hoops? Who's talking false or the truth? Yeah, come and show me your war face. I'll show you my war face. No holds barred, so for your sake, you better show up in good shape. Valuable information is key to your domination. So focus on preparation. Online is your reputation. Yeah, it's one-on-one. You and me, ain't no fear in me. You will see. When it comes to this, you be wearing the number 23. In debate, I hold my weight cause these sports I'm attached to it. Your legacy, get ready cause I'm gonna set a match to it. Hey. Burn 'em. Fire, 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 burn 'em. Fire, 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 burn 'em. Fire, 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 legacy on fire. Fire, 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 burn 'em. Fire, 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 legacy on fire. Fire, 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 burn 'em. Fire, 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 legacy on fire.
This week's panel: Jay Quimby, Robb Johnson, Lamonte Thomas, James Brown, and Cody Stewart.
Yo, what is up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 24 of Legacy on Fire here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network. We're so glad to have you all here with us for another one. I know it's been a week. I know it's been 2 weeks. We took a week off, but now we are back to bring you more here on Legacy on Fire. And of course, let me go ahead and get it started properly by introducing the panel. Now, you will see there we are missing one today. Our man Jay had to take care of some business. He will not be here with us tonight, but we got somebody with us today, ladies and gentlemen. Man, myth, and absolute legend himself, Mr. Robb Johnson. How you doing there, Robb?
I'm just ready to debate.
Ready to debate. Robb is ready to roll. We got our man rocking the Chicago White Sox hat today, Mr. James Brown. How you doing, sir?
What's going on, man? You know, another week looking to get back at it with the fellas. Another good episode.
Yeah. And then, representing the Pittsburgh Pirates on this one, Mr. Cody Stewart.
It's all because of looks. It's not because of the team. I can tell you that.
And of course, stay up top there with the rocking the Wolverines, the home of Jim Harbaugh Incorporated, Mr. Lamonte Thomas.
Shout out to my man Nick Stauskas for dropping 53 of them things in the G League. League of now. Let's go. Go blue.
Still out there doing things out there.
53.
Man, I forgot my man was still out there. Hey, much love. You know who another guy that's doing really good in the G League? Justin Tillman, former VCU standout.
Yes.
He's doing like 45 boards a game. It's crazy stuff out there, but it's definitely good to see. Once again, we're good. We're glad to have everybody here with us. We got another episode. We got some very interesting topics to talk about. We're going to start off the quick ones, ladies and gentlemen, with this one as we talk a little bit about Mr. LeBron James. Obviously, ladies and gentlemen, things have not been going well for the LA Lakers. It has been a really rough season. A lot of Laker fans are, and excuse my French, are ready to jump off of the bridge. I see them every day on Twitter, and I see them on Facebook and Instagram where they're just ready to give up. They're just not used to being this bad with this many talented players. So, fellas, we're going to get into this one. We got to break this one down here. What's the deal, man? Can LeBron James still carry a team to a championship? I'm going to start this one off because it's been a while. Mr. Robb Johnson, what are your thoughts on LeBron James, and can he still carry a team to a championship?
I'm a huge LeBron fan, but I do not think that he can still carry a team. In fact, I never think he's ever carried a team. You look at his championships with Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, then he had Kyrie Irving, he had Kevin Love, and recently he had Anthony Davis. For the Lakers to have any success, Anthony Davis is going to have success, and that's going to be hard because he keeps getting hurt. One individual I think that we keep, one individual all time that I think that really carried a team, and we can look at Michael, but he had help. One player that we have to look at is Isaiah Thomas. I think that's really probably one of the only players in NBA history that really carried a team, I would say, outside of Hakeem Olajuwon in a sense, and if Patrick Ewing could have won a championship. But I never really look at LeBron as carrying a team by himself. With this Lakers team, he's at his age, no. It's going to be an Anthony Davis combination.
All right. James, what are your thoughts on this one, man? Can LeBron still carry a team?
I think LeBron can carry a team, but this team, there's no way. There's no way he's carrying this Laker team anywhere except to a first round exit, maybe. That's even if they make the play-in tournament at this point. I mean, the Lakers are just they're not a great basketball team. You know, they have gone through a lot of injuries. Anthony Davis is out again. LeBron's had a little spells where he's been out, but the team currently is constructed, man. I mean, you can't go anywhere with this. I mean, it's just not working out. They're definitely going to do a major overhaul in the offseason if they want to compete next year for a title. But, yeah, it's a done deal. They're not getting anything done this year.
It's so sad to see that that's how things have been for LeBron and his Lakers team. LT, man, what are your thoughts, man? Can LeBron still carry a team to a championship?
Let's put this in perspective, okay? Because, yes, LeBron can carry a team to the championship. But what we're looking at, as James said, is this year. People get so caught up on these one-year narratives. Let's remind you guys that the last time the Lakers won the championship or even got close before LeBron led them to the championship in 2020 was 2010. That's a 10-year drought. And even with a Kobe Bryant, one of the greatest we've ever seen, they've had a Steve Nash, they've had a Dwight Howard on the team. They still have not gotten close other than that. So let's be real. Like, championships, one, aren't that easy to come by. And two, yes, LeBron can carry a team to the championship, but this team, as constructed, has problems. I think even if they're healthy, look at what's coming out of the West this year. No, I don't think they got the right pieces. And I said it in the offseason who they needed to get, and they didn't do that. And that's what happened. They didn't even get players that are similar to those players. The NBA is very tough when orchestrating the team now because you got a lot of great ballers out there, but everybody doesn't have good chemistry. So yes, he can lead a team, but this team is not it.
Now, Lamont, just out of curiosity, can you tell us that player that they should have brought to the team?
I said he needed a player like Kyle Lowry, and I said what was going to happen is the chemistry of that team, and being that the player that he has been in Toronto, he's proved that he can do it down the stretch, and the IQ mixed with LeBron to handle the ball and take some pressure off him would have been perfect along to go with the defense and what he does offensively. Now, with that being said, Lowry goes to the Heat, and instantly I said they will be number one in the East. Darrell, where's Miami right now in the East? Number one in the East. I rest my case.
Cody, can LeBron still carry a team to a championship, brother?
I mean, based off of his numbers this year, yeah. I mean, he's averaging, I believe, 29, 8, and 6. But this is what's very confusing to me. When you talk to a lot of LeBron fans, you hear them talk about what he did back in 06 and 07 when they went to the finals against the Spurs. He led a team with Zydrunas Ilgauskas, Boobie Gibson, Donyell Marshall, Shannon Brown. He carried these guys to the NBA Finals, a 50-32 record. I believe it was the 6th best record in the NBA. And if you look at that whole team combined, they had 2 All-Star appearances and 0 All-NBA teams combined. But you look at who he's playing with: Anthony Davis, Carmelo Anthony, Russell Westbrook, Dwight Howard. All of these are bona fide Hall of Famers. I understand they aren't in their prime, but they have 35 All-Star appearances between them, 27 All-NBA teams between them. And you put this team up against that 06-07 Cavaliers team, this Lakers team dominates that team. So did the NBA get tougher in this past, 14, 15 years? Probably. But it's still a question mark as to why LeBron and this cast are the 9 seed and barely in a play-in game right now.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, a lot of people were like, man, this just shouldn't happen. And a lot of people didn't want to see it happen. And now you look at it, and like I said, you can just see Laker fans ready to take the leap. They're just ready to take the leap. It's been crazy. Absolutely crazy. But we'll see. We'll see if LeBron and the crew can make things happen here. We'll see if they'll be able to, turn the ship. It don't look positive, ladies and gentlemen, but we will see. Next topic that we're going to talk on, we got to talk about the Sixers, man. Like, the Sixers finally got their man. I mean, this has been, looks like it feels like a year in the making. As Harden has now been traded as a couple of weeks ago to the Philadelphia 76ers, and Embiid looks so happy. I've probably never seen Embiid look so happy. But right now, this team, with how tough the East has been so far this season, can they make it or get to the NBA Finals? And I'm going to start this one, ladies and gentlemen, with Mr. Lamont Thomas. Lamont, can the Sixers? You seen Harden in Houston. You seen the heartache. So can they make it happen?
Can they possibly? Will they? No. And I say that because chemistry is such a huge part of this league, as I just said. And with them just now getting together, I still have them behind 3 teams in the East in a series. Those 3 teams are the Miami Heat. I think the Milwaukee Bucks have been together long enough to take them out. I believe the Boston Celtics can beat them in a series because they have what's called chemistry. And if they are healthy down the stretch, they can and will figure it out in a 7-game series where it's going to take the Sixers long enough. They got good basketball minds, Doc Rivers, but I don't think it's enough. You're also going to need more than Embiid and Harden. You do have Maxey, who's playing out of his mind. Don't get me wrong, but you also got rid of some of them pieces, Mr. Curry, who can still light it up. Your bench is still going to have an issue. So, no, they don't have a complete NBA Finals team right now.
All right. Cody, what are your thoughts on this one, man?
I'm going to say yeah.
He said yes, sir.
Yes.
He's feeling hype about it.
Listen, I mean, and it hurts me to say this about any sort of Philly team, but, I mean, I'm just looking at what they have, and I know everybody wants to talk about Harden and, how he's come up short in his career when it comes to the playoffs, but this is no disrespect towards Kevin Durant or any of the guys that he's played with. Harden has never played with a guy of Embiid's caliber, and I'm talking about a true center who can pass the ball. He gets his rebounds. He can score 40 a night at will. Just looking at what they were able to do in that trade, and the biggest part of it outside of getting Harden is being able to keep Maxey. That was huge for them. Looking at it right now, I understand it's a small sample size. They've only played 2 games together, but Philly has beat their 2 opponents by a combined 47 points. Combined, Harden and Embiid, they're averaging 63 points, 12 rebounds, and 17 assists per game. And I know that we were talking about their bench and pieces that they got rid of. There's rumors Dion Jordan will be coming to the Philly.
Now, if D-Hop coming in, that's going to be a very interesting thing because I want to see how D-Hop can translate from the NFL to the NBA. I'm just messing with you. All right. Rob, what are your thoughts on this one, man? Can Embiid and Harden make it to the finals, bro?
I was impressed by – I wasn't impressed by the win against the Knicks because they're the Knicks. But I was impressed by the Minnesota win because Minnesota is becoming a better team. You have to look at Minnesota as a threat in the future if they don't blow it up as they've done in the past. Harden has to show up. Harden has to play defense. He can't have a series like he had or a game 6 against San Antonio. Harden sometimes gets disinterested. Sometimes he doesn't show up when he needs to show up. And he's had people like Chris Paul, Kevin Durant, etc. Him and Joel Embiid eventually are going to clash. I don't know how else we can look at it. They're going to clash eventually. And when is that going to happen? And plus, the East is hard. You look at the Atlanta Hawks. You look at 1 through 8. It is going to be tough all the way through. And as Lamont said, I mean, a team like Boston, that team scares me. With Tatum, he can play both sides. He is a Hall of Fame player waiting to happen and an MVP waiting to happen. So I definitely think that Philadelphia does. I think that they have a chance, but I don't think they'll get it this year.
All right. James, what are your thoughts on this bad boy, man? What about Embiid and Harden, man, taking it to the finals? What do you think?
I mean, man, on paper, it looks good. You got Embiid, you got Harden. You was able to keep Maxey. You still got Matisse Thybulle, who can D him up 3-and-D. But when it comes to James Harden and his career, the biggest letdowns of his career seem to always come in the playoffs. And like Rob said, there have been times where he just seemed disinterested. He's been in the playoff series, and he's just been off his games at sometimes. Like I know the Spurs series, like they were up 4-2, I believe, maybe at one point, but they had several chances to close it out. And in the biggest moments, he just seems to come up short when it comes to playoff time. And I don't know if it's because of his play style. He's always looking for maybe that extra whistle in the playoffs, and he's just not going to get that. So I feel like on paper, they can get it done, but we got to see the proof. I feel like, they have a good chance this year. I will say Harden seems interested. He's in Philly. Philadelphia is open. My man can hit the clubs and get the wings, see the dances, live his life. He couldn't really do that in Brooklyn. He was locked down. My man free now. So, we'll see what happens.
Well, look, the East is tight, and I think we all kind of agreed that the East can be a very, very interesting place when this playoff time comes. To be honest with you, for the first time, I think in a long time, in my opinion, the league is in a really good place where on either side, somebody could come out and you'd be like, this is a nice little change, but it's also you wouldn't be surprised. I think there's about maybe like 12 teams total that can make a run here, and you'd be like, oh, okay, all right. That's what I'm interested to see here as the NBA season go along. Now, we got to talk a little football here. We're going to switch over to football. Ladies and gentlemen, the USFL is coming to town. They've got 8 teams out there, and I don't know how to feel about it initially, but they've got the Michigan Panthers, the Philadelphia Stars, the New Jersey Generals, the Pittsburgh Maulers, I believe I can't even see their last team, but it's the Birmingham Stallions, the Houston Gamblers, the New Orleans Breakers, and the Kansas City Bandits. I can't even read the old bad boy myself, but nevertheless, y'all, I want to know if you're excited about this league. That's where I'm at this one. James, I'm gonna start with you. Are you excited about the USFL?
I mean, it's football. I mean, it's football. It'll be on in the spring when the NFL isn't on. They got some guys that we've heard of before. Like I think Kyle Lauletta is a quarterback that was drafted. Somehow Shea Patterson went number 1 overall in their draft. So they got some guys, it seems like. We'll have to see what the product on the field looks like. If it's anything like the American Alliance Football League that we saw that before COVID, they got a shot to make it interesting. We just got to see what they put on the field. We got to see what product they have.
Yeah, very, very interested to see how that goes. LT Shea Patterson, a Wolverine was named. So we go to LT. What are your thoughts on Shea Patterson and I think it's with the Michigan Panthers, I believe. What are your thoughts on the USFL?
Thoughts on Shea Patterson is go blue. You let me down sometimes, but it's all good. I'll give you another chance, my guy. But for real, like the thing that I'm most excited about this league is that, other than what James said, it being on in the springtime when the NFL's not on, is that I'm excited for these guys. All right, I'm excited for these guys who've worked their whole lives to play professional football, right? And they get a chance, even if it's on this level, right? Because we all know how hard it is, to dedicate, a huge part of your life to get on the stage, and for them to get that chance, even in this element. I'm excited for that. So I'm excited for them to, get a chance and to show their talents and hopefully make a name that they're still trying to make. Other than that, selfishly, I'd have to go to either Jersey or Philly to catch one of these games. Now, that's what I'm not excited about. I'd rather it be closer. So that's what I got.
All right, Cody, what are your thoughts on the USFL? I know
I just got it. Look, I just have to know how weak was the quarterback class if Shea Patterson was going number 1 overall.
Ouch.
I just need to know.
Ouch.
But whatever. This neither here nor there. But I mean, like James said, it's football, and we here in America we love football, and it really doesn't matter what league is playing. Somebody's going to tune in. I get a little nervous. We've seen, over the past 5-6 years, they've tried to come with some sort of league to play in the spring, and it never catches on, either by financial reasons or we know COVID hit back in 2019, 2020. So is this league going to stick, or is it going to be another we play 4 or 5 games and then we automatically dissolve? So I have my reservations about it.
I understand that completely. Rob, what are your thoughts on the USFL?
The original USFL, I believe, lasted from 82 to 86. They had some huge names. Absolute huge names. And you have to be honest with yourself. It'll probably be hot for a week, probably hot for 2 weeks. The media will hype it up, and then it'll probably go away after about a year or two. It's not the NFL. I believe the XFL coming back next year will have a little more success. What I would like to see would be the NFL partner with some of these women leagues to give them a little more opportunities so they can showcase themselves. A lot of good women's football teams out there that don't get to shine, don't get paid. So that's something I would like to see a lot more than these reboot leagues that are not going to work.
I understand that completely. And Rob, you bring up a good point. I think if one of the major leagues, especially in the NFL, they invested in women's football, I really do think it would catch on, because it's like in UFC. The women's division is just as good as the men's division, and people love that comeback. I think if they really truly gave him a platform, and gave him something to go with, I think he really could take off. I mean, but hey, only time will tell and see if the NFL makes that move. Now, speaking of the NFL, go ahead, Rob.
Honestly, I'm sorry. Quite honestly, I'm sick of women coming into the NFL and we're making such a big deal about it. Women can actually coach and they can play ball, but I mean, so when we eventually have a women's football coach, we don't have to make a big, huge deal about it. We already know that person can coach. So let's just move on and get the process rolling.
Exactly. Next topic, speaking of the NFL and the XFL, they're working together. So supposedly they got like a little thing going on here where it looks like they're going to maybe almost feels like the XFL might be a little bit of a minor league here for the NFL, or is it like at least some type of way that they can kind of work together. Cody, I'm going to start with you. What are your thoughts on the NFL, XFL working together?
Exactly what you just said. It basically being sort of like a minor league for them. I mean, we look at the NHL, we look at the MLB, we even look at the NBA. They have basically a minor league system that you're able to, see what's coming up, and you can kind of pluck from that. So it's great that the NFL is able to do this, and it also allows the NFL to try different things. If it's a different like the way the game is called, if they want to try different overtime rules, if they want to try just anything different in the game, they can try it there. If it catches on, they can go ahead and implement that to the big boys. So I'm excited about that. But again, like I said about the USFL, I have my reservations. We got to hope that the XFL can stay afloat, because we know what happened last time.
It's been twice now. I mean, we'll see if they can get that together. Rob, I'll go back to you on this. What about the NFL and the XFL working together?
Okay. The XFL, a lot of people won't think this was the case, but I feel like the XFL was really doing hot before COVID. If you think about it, I mean, it was all over Twitter. It was all over social media, especially that Houston team with PJ Walker. I mean, I was following that team closely. They were doing a really good job at the XFL. Now, The Rock doesn't have the overall ownership, but he does. He is the face of it. So you can bring that. You can bring that element to it. Partnering with the NFL, I don't think it will be ever as big as the NFL Europe was, but I do think it will help some players who want to come from high school to college, who want to skip college. I mean, maybe come to the XFL and learn things and get a craft. But it's just almost like the G League. I mean, and people laugh at the G League, but basketball is hard. Football is hard. You cannot go directly from high school to the pros. So I think the XFL can be that bridge where players can learn the game and really get themselves going. So when they get to the league, they can get that money.
All right. LT, what are your thoughts on this bad boy?
Well, first of all, I think the NFL came out, at least per Yardbreaker, and said that the partnership with the XFL the deal is not necessarily a partnership, meaning it's not going to be like a development league type of deal. But what it does do, it does, like Cody said, develop refs, rule changes, and new equipment. So I think that's something that is exciting for us, because we get improvement of the NFL with the deal. And in terms of the XFL, yeah, I agree with Rob. PJ Walker was exciting to watch. Even when he went with, what was that, Carolina that he played with, it was nice. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm down with giving them another shot, and we gotta hope they make it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. Those Houston jerseys were fire.
They were fire.
Those Houston jerseys with the shiny helmet, like the a little bit of an Oiler feel to them. I love those Houston jerseys. I hate that league didn't have as much time to really grow. But hopefully they bring those same team backs. We'll see on that. James, what do you think?
They had to change that jersey because of the NFL, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe they'll be nice enough this time. What about you, James? What are your thoughts on the NFL and XFL kind of working together?
I think it could work if it is done under that developmental league aspect. Kind of like what Rob alluded to with the NFL Europe. If it was a way where, kind of like with NFL Europe, your team, if they had claims on your XFL affiliates, and, if you can remember, you see the guys, they'd have like the team emblem on the jersey crest, to show, hey, this guy not only is playing NFL Europe, he's affiliated with the Seahawks or the Browns, whatever. And if they could develop a system where there could possibly be a call-up, kind of how there is in the majors, where we could see something like that implemented, where maybe the trade deadline has gone past, But if there's an injury or if you need to call up a guy from your XFL affiliate, that could be something that we could possibly see if it does work out in that developmental style. I feel like if the NFL doesn't kind of help nurture it, it may fail as it did previously. If they kind of give them that big brother aspect of it, I think we could see some success.
Hey, real quick, do we know the locations of these teams for the XFL yet?
Yeah. As far as I know, I think they're keeping the same teams, but I haven't heard, any like.
I think they did announce it, and I think they are pretty much the same locations.
Good, because I mean, the Defenders, I ain't gonna lie to you, low key, the Defenders had a nice little fan base thing going on.
Yeah,
the Washington Commanders had a little bit to worry about, in my opinion, because if you go to the game, they had the super beer pong from the top of the stadium.
It's lit out there, for sure.
Like the energy level at those games were amazing. I'm like,
they're not
the Defenders also had a name, so
they're not chanting "sell the team" either.
The reason I bring that up real quick is just because, like, with us talking about how the NFL would be able to kind of, use that as an experimental league in regards to rules and stuff. I'd like to see it where they put some of these teams in other markets. Like, we don't need another team in DC or New York, or I understand they want to sell tickets, but let's try something like Salt Lake City, Portland, somewhere where the NFL could look to say, hey, this is where the 33rd NFL franchise is going to go. Let's see how this turns out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I like that, because it would be very intriguing to see if they can kind of get that thing together. It's a very important thing, in my opinion. I think it could work this time. And like you said, if the NFL finds a way to kind of help bring it along and really show us some love. So
hopefully we'll get some locally,
locally would be really nice. We got to get a stadium / arena. So they got to figure that thing out first. All right, everybody, that was quick takes here. And it's been a while since we've had a chance to really kind of go back to our old school style, but we will kind of go back to that today. For those who are not used to the old school style, when we do our main topics here, it's not 3 rounds today. We're only doing 2 rounds today, but each panelist will get 1 minute to kind of give their opinion on something. And now each panelist will have a chance to fire back on that opinion and give a rebuttal. Now, the way it'll work this time around is after everybody has that one chance, everybody will get a chance to just kind of go at it in the fire pit, as we like to call it here on Legacy on Fire. So you'll get a chance to fire back once everybody gives their opinion on that topic. So with that being said, our first one that we're going to bring up today, our first major topic on this one, is going to be about Zion Williamson and what is his next move. There's so much going on, and it feels like, to me, y'all, I really don't know what's going on in this situation. I mean, I've heard so many different things, but I guess the question at hand is, what is really next for Zion Williamson and the Pelicans in this situation? So with that being said, I'm going to start this one off with James, man. What's next for Zion Williamson and the Pelicans? Because this is a crazy situation.
What should be next is a mutual parting of ways. I mean, clearly Zion doesn't want to be there. His camp doesn't want to be there. Neither of them on the same page. Nobody really knows what's going on. We're hearing reports say that, he's getting evaluated this week for the foot and he's expected to be here. Then a report comes out, well, no, he's actually suffered another setback. There's possibly another surgery happening. He's not in communication with the team members, it seems, not in communication with the coach. Nobody really seems to know what's going on with Zion Williamson in New Orleans. And it's like, at this point, let's just go ahead, part ways. Maybe you could trade him, get a huge package for him, maybe kind of reboot the franchise again. But they need to separate. It's not working. Zion's not committed. The Pelicans, it doesn't seem like they're trying to do anything to really make it work. Let's just wash it up, split ways.
Makes sense to me. LT, what are your thoughts on this bad boy? Zion Williamson, what's next for him and the Pelicans?
First of all, let's talk about the potential that Zion Williamson has, because he's played 84 games his first 2 seasons, and last year he actually did break out. I'm going to give you some players who did that similarly, right, in their first 2 years. Embiid played 95 games in his first 2 seasons, and he did not have numbers like Zion had last year until his 3rd season. Bill Walton, 86 games first 2 seasons. He ended up playing 10 years. We all know MVP and a championship as well to come with that. So the potential is there. With that being said, I agree with James. It doesn't look like either party's interested. The Pelicans have never seemed interested in developing a player and making a run for anything. You even had Chris Paul. I mean, you can go with that. Anthony Davis. It continues down the line. Send him to New York. Let him reunite with his guys and let it rock, man. That's what we want to see.
I know another person would like to see that. Mr.
Cody, let's make it happen, baby.
Let's go.
What are your thoughts on Zion Williamson and what's next for him in the Pelicans?
You know, I really do question if he would have gone anywhere else. You know, would this be what's going on? Like, I understand it's something going on with his knee or his foot or something. I understand that. And I also understand when there's something like that going on, you can't necessarily, you know, do the running and jogging like you should, but you can control what goes in your mouth and what doesn't as far as eating. You know what I'm saying? So I honestly wonder if he would have went to a New York, if he would have went to an LA, a Miami, a Chicago, a bigger market where he thought he was going to go, because we all know the Knicks had the worst record that year, that everybody thought they were going to get the first pick. Would this be the same case? Could he still be hurt? Sure. But could he still also be in shape? Yes, he could. I do think that it's time to part ways. If I'm the Pelicans and looking at what I have, Brandon Ingram is playing well. They just got CJ McCollum, Jackson Hayes. They have some pieces there. Go ahead, move Zion, because it doesn't look like it's working. Try to get what you can and build around what you already have.
All right. Robb Johnson, brother, Zion Williamson. What's next for him in the Pelicans, man?
I have two destinations for him. First one, Chicago. You can give up a Kobe White, give up some other assets. I believe that New Orleans would take that. Then the other destination I think that would be very good for not only him, but for a city. If you look back at the 80s, you look at the Lakers, Showtime. I would love to see him go to Atlanta with Trae Young. I think that would be a great combination. I think that would be a combination where it would really set Atlanta on fire. Atlanta is the hip-hop hub right now. Like it or not, that's where hip hop is in Atlanta. It's in the South. So I think that they could take advantage of a real good opportunity. Zion does have to work on his weight, not because I'm dissing his weight, but because basically, you know, he has to protect his knees. So, you know, if he can do that, then he should be fine.
All right. Chance for anybody to fire back. Anybody want to fire back on this one? James raises his hand. James, what you got, brother?
It ain't a real fire back, but, you know, Cody mentioned that, you know, Zion with the weight and whatnot. What Cody doesn't know, and a lot of people may not know, what Zion did was the same thing that James Harden did. They reached out to Martin Lawrence. They got the big mama suit. And they tired of being where they at. They put that joint on. They put the Medea joint, the big mama suit. Yeah, right. They put that joint on when they're no longer interested. And
so you're saying that the minute he gets traded, he's going to be right back down to about 285.
It's the big mama suit, man.
Gotcha.
And then with Robb, I like his ideas of either him going to Chicago. That'd be solid. One, being a Bulls fan, but then two, him bring that energy to Chicago. He's already a Jordan affiliate, playing in the house that Jordan built. I think it could work wonders, man. So
I like LA.
So why LA, LT? Why LA? LA Clippers or Lakers? Let's verify.
Oh, Lakers for sure. Showtime.
Give up for him,
Showtime. I mean, give them Anthony Davis back.
Want to give him AD back?
Because that man is one paper plane away from just not playing anymore. I mean, let's be real. Like, it's like he's always hurt. Not to mention you got the window and you have the future with Zion. That's going to be your selling point, right? Like the potential, as I just showed you and mentioned, is there. So yeah, get him to LA. Let him. I mean, who knows? Him and LeBron, and he's also a good basketball mind. So you get him around some pieces, and you know we got to revamp the structure anyway because we already talked about that. You get him there, you might be able to get a championship out of that thing.
You know, I just want to say, I will say, you know, y'all bring up Michael Jordan. You know, he does own a team in Charlotte that has a very good young point guard in Lonzo. LaMelo. That lob threat right there, that would be something serious.
Yeah, I think Atlanta would also be dope.
I like
Rob said.
Rob. That's a really good one.
That inside-outside would be crazy.
I think for the league, though, New York is where they.
And let me say one more.
They need them in New York. Go ahead, Rob. Fire back.
And I don't mean to be derogatory towards this individual, but what has David Griffin really proven? And I feel like the Lakers could sucker him into a Russell Westbrook, maybe a couple other young players, maybe a first-round pick, because you know David Griffin loves first-round picks. I really think the Lakers could really sucker the Pelicans in Because David Griffin just hasn't been good without LeBron James. Yes, he made the McCollum deal, but I mean, what's McCollum going to do? Get him to the first round and lose?
It's going to be interesting. This Zion situation has been crazy, and we don't know what is in store. I mean, it feels like a whole season is being wasted while we see a man like, and I don't want to mess nobody's put out the fire, while we see a man like Al Morant just taking the lead by storm. So we will see how that goes here and what will happen next with Mr. Zion Williamson. Our next topic. Now, this one's going to be a fun one. This is going to be a fun. This is actually the one I've been waiting for. All right. So, fellas, this one's a little bit different. This is the quarterback move you want to see and the quarterback move, the one that you think will happen. So this one's going to be a fun one. Cody looks like he's pumping at the bit for this one. I think I might let you go first because you're smiling really hard over there. Cody, I want your thoughts on this one, man.
I already know I'm going to probably steal some of LT's thunder, and I apologize, my guy. But I want to see Aaron Rodgers to Denver, man. I want to see it. I'm going to give you a few things real quick. 2019, Denver went 7-9. They lost 4 games by 4 points or less. No doubt about it. If Aaron Rodgers is on that team, they go 11-5 and make the playoffs at least. 2020, Broncos go 5-11. They lost 6 games by a touchdown or less. Aaron Rodgers there, they win 11 games. They make the playoffs. Last season, Broncos go 7-10. They lost 4 games by 5 points or less. Again, if Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback of that franchise, they at least win 11 games and they make the playoffs. I'm trying to tell you right now, the only thing the Broncos are missing is a quarterback. Aaron Rodgers goes to Denver. And I understand they play in a very tough division with very good quarterbacks like Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes. Aaron Rodgers goes to Denver, Super Bowl contender immediately.
Now, let me ask you this, Cody, with that. Tell me about the move that you think will actually – is there a move that you think will actually happen for sure? One that you
Jimmy G to Washington. It's happening.
Oh,
listen, real quick. The only reason I say that is because it seems like every time a report comes out of Washington, they're going to go all out on a quarterback. They never go all out on a quarterback, and they get stuck with the second tier or third tier quarterback. It will be Jimmy G.
I've been hearing Mitch Trubisky now. All right, James, what are your thoughts on this one? What's the quarterback move that you think that you want to see made, and then one that you think will actually happen?
I'd like to see a big time quarterback like Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson's exchange team. I'm gonna feel like for Russell, it's a chance to kind of rebrand, reboot at somewhere else. Seems a little frustrated with how things are going in Seattle. Maybe he'd like to be getting a fresh start somewhere. I'd like to see it happen. I feel like for Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, they kind of just need to separate at this point. I mean, Aaron's trying to hold the whole organization hostage. There's reports that he's demanding $50 million. They're already, $50 million over the cap? Then you're trying to sign Devontae Adams possibly too. Just let him walk. I mean, what else can he really do for the franchise? We've seen he's not getting you to another Super Bowl. Of course, he's going to win a division. Who doesn't win a division in the NFC North if you have the Packers squad, especially when you're facing the competition they have? So if he comes back, we know they're going to win the North. We know they're going to make the playoffs. We know they're not going to make the Super Bowl. We know he's going to make a lot of money. And it's going to amount to nothing.
Cut that out.
It's the truth.
I don't need to hear things that make me sad inside, all right? All right,
Rob. You're crying inside.
Rob, tell me about the quarterback. What quarterback do you think will make a move, and which one do you think I guess the move that you think will actually happen?
That's all.
Yeah. I want to see Jameis Winston go to Denver. I think because I think the relationship between him and John Elway would be great. Him and John Elway were both baseball players. John Elway struggled a little bit at the beginning of his career, like Jameis Winston did with interceptions. So I think that they can have a good relationship. The trade I think will happen will be Russell Wilson to the Philadelphia Eagles.
I've heard a little bit of that. That'd be interesting, I mean, but it's smart though too, because if you're Seattle and you look like you're trying to rebuild, You can sing a young Jalen Hurts there. I think the crowd would get into him a little bit, but then the move there would be pretty interesting there. All right, LT, what are your thoughts on this one, man? Come on now, what's the move you want? I know which move you really want, but you know.
I'm actually I'm not going to go there, and the reason why is I'll start off with what I think will happen with Aaron Rodgers, and that's him moving to another team. And I don't know which team, so you guys know that I'd love to have him, but I don't know if that's going to be the case. Even looking at what Denver's got going on, but the quarterback move I want to see, and this is really to settle some of the narratives going on in the league, is kind of to piggyback off of what James said. I want to see Russell Wilson move, and I think a good swap might be him for Baker Mayfield. And now hear me out on this. I think that, the Browns are lacking leadership. I think that he did play with a torn labrum since week 2, and he does need another chance. I'm thinking maybe a young DK Metcalf and company, maybe a fresh start for him. I'm thinking Russ is done with Seattle, maybe a fresh start, and this lack of leadership in Cleveland, and he could prove that Cleveland really doesn't do well with good leaders.
It's a very, very interesting scenario.
I'd like to see that swap.
I'm not gonna lie to you. That's a very interesting perspective because we got a lot of quarterbacks that are going to go into situations this year. Daniel Jones being included there, Cody. We don't really know what's going to be next. But I want to bring up Daniel real quick though, Cody, because looking at this whole situation, it seems like this is the end of the rope. I mean, what are your thoughts on Daniel Jones? I want to hear that from you. What are your thoughts on Daniel Jones and what could happen since they didn't pick up his option?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that it's weird because his rookie year, he played at like 12 games. He threw for like 24, 25 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. And then the following 2 years after there was a head coach change, offensive coordinator change, it's like he's throwing for right at 10 touchdowns. So it's like there's some sort of disconnect going on. And there's no doubt about it. The Giants have definitely neglected the offensive line. So I will agree with a lot of what general managers around the league are saying. It's like it's hard to really gauge who is Daniel Jones because has he really been given a fair shot? Right. But I do agree the end of the road is near, and it's just one of those things where there's a possibility that he could have been a very good quarterback in the league, but we'll never know.
Now, Rob, I want to throw this at you, and I'm not trying to beat up on you, Cody, but I know Rob has had a strong opinion about this for a long time. Saquon Barkley is at a point right now that we're starting to hear rumors of his trade, potential trade. What are your thoughts on that, Rob?
On Saquon Barkley?
Yes. You've been talking about it for a couple of years.
Look, man. I said it when he came out of Penn State that he was too big of a running back. I thought that he was not going to have success, especially going to the Giants. Now, I will say this, and I've been saying this now for maybe the last 6 months. I think that either him or Leonard Fournette, if they can somehow get to San Francisco, it's a wrap.
Oh God! Oh, that would be ugly.
Yeah, because if I'm San Francisco, what I do is I go get Tom Brady out of retirement. I let my number 2 overall pick sit behind Tom Brady, bring in that dominant running back, and get me a receiver in the draft. Bring Debo back. Man, San Francisco might reel off 2 in a row.
It would be, that would be crazy. Now, James, I'm gonna talk a little bit about the Atlanta Falcons here. Obviously, you see the situation where, Arthur Smith is really high on bringing Matt Ryan back. Now, I know you probably have some strong feelings on that, but do you think this is the year or this is the draft that we see Atlanta go after that successor to maybe kind of go behind Matt Ryan, or do you think they wait a year?
You serious? Like you said,
I'm being as honest. Hey, man, look, I've seen worse things.
Man, look, if the Falcons wanted to take a quarterback, it should have been last year in the draft where you had Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, who they had a chance to grab, Trey Lance, who they had a chance to trade up for possibly, or even Mac Jones. This is not the year to select a quarterback. Who are you honestly going to take? Malik Willis? All right, he's out of Liberty, looks good at Liberty, but you got to remember, lower level of competition. Next quarterback, Kenny Pickett, double glove guy.
He hates them.
The double glove guy, hated double gloves, probably indication of small hands. Plus, what, Pickett's like, what, a super senior? Dude's like 30 and still at Pitt? Like, come on now.
I'm playing. Rob, what do you got, brother?
30 still at Pitt?
let me say this, guys. I don't have and let me let everybody know. Go to our social media pages. Check out my draft. I'm doing mock draft 1.0. I don't have a quarterback going until 25 to the Tennessee Titans. Believe it or not, I would not pick Malik Willis to the second or third round. I hope they'll make an emotional decision if you're Atlanta Falcons. The best quarterback in this NFL draft is Carson Strong out of Nevada. I believe that whoever gets him, I believe he'll impress. If the Falcons get him there early, I think that he would do really, really well in Atlanta. But I have him going to Tennessee. But I have Carson Strong as my best quarterback in this draft. Everybody else, I would be very, very hesitant. Do not make a Jake Locker. Do not make a Jake Locker mistake.
Ooh, there's a name for you. Ooh, Jake Locker. Now, LT, before we run,
There's some Jake Lockers in this draft.
Before we move,
This is the worst draft class since
it's really bad though. It doesn't feel comfortable.
Look, I just want to say this real quick. I'm looking at it. This draft reminds me of the draft that EJ Manuel was taking it, man. I mean, it's no clear cut number one. And even if you have a quarterback number one, if you're taking him in the first round, you're likely reaching. It's not going to end well, man.
Now, LT, I don't want to leave this segment before we hit the put out the fire segment. I want to talk a little bit about your Broncos here, and with those young quarterbacks that we were speaking of, if you had to choose one of those guys to bring into Denver, which one would you choose?
I don't know, honestly. Like I feel like looking at it, Willis is intriguing just because of upside. I think that the thing with Denver is, and Cody just pointed it out, like you have so many pieces on the team that a solid leader can get you over the hump, right? A Jimmy G can get you over the hump. You don't need, the 49ers went to the Super Bowl with Jimmy G. Trust me, I do not like Jimmy G, and he's in the talks, and it makes me cringe every time. But you need a leader on this team, and if he can do what he has done with the 49ers, with the Denver team, who defensively have been super solid, right? And all the way around, you're super solid. You need a leader. You don't need a quarterback who's, remember, like James said, you don't need an expensive one. You don't need a flashy one. You need one who can get the job done and can lead a group of men. That's what you need. And so whoever that young quarterback is, I'll take it.
Cody, then Rob. All
right, I just want to throw this out there real quick to LT.
Hit me.
There's been so many talks about like the Titans. They're in a very good position right now, but it seems like Ryan Tannehill might be, holding them back. So it's like, could they get rid of Tannehill and go after an Aaron Rodgers? LT, if the Titans came to you, if you're the GM of the Broncos, the Titans come to you, and they say, look, we're just trying to get that contract off of our hands. You could have him for a 4th-round pick. Would you give a 4th-round pick to Tennessee to bring in Ryan Tannehill?
That's going to be contingent on if I have somebody who can compete and take this job. And I'm going to be real with you. I want a competitor, right? Like I want a leader. I've seen it. We've had guys who can get it done, but it hasn't worked for us. And I feel like we have to push them to the limit. And sometimes that's it. Give me somebody who I know can compete with them. With Tannehill from day one is going to look out the side of his eye and be like, I better bust my ass or I'm going to be benching my ass. That's what I want.
All right, Rob, before we move to put out the fire, what you got, brother?
You remember Rich Gannon, right?
I do.
Who does he remind you of?
Who does he remind me of?
In a sense. He's not as good as Rich Gannon right now, but he has potential to be. Watch out for Taylor Heineke if he can go to Denver.
I think he's a leader. I just don't think he gets us there.
And I get that. But I'm saying that he's young, and you have to look at how dysfunctional. Well, that's what I'm saying. How dysfunctional things are in Washington. There are actual weapons in Denver. That's what I'm saying. So if you don't believe in this class and you don't want to spend any money, take a chance, man. Send a 3rd, maybe 4th round pick to Washington. What do you have to lose? Because next year's class,
is going to be off the charts.
I just don't want to. I feel like I see what I see in that is I see a Teddy Bridgewater, Drew Lock situation all over again. That's what I see.
You don't want that.
True, but I mean, we've seen Drew Lock, and we've seen Drew Lock's leadership, especially when you look at what happened with the COVID situation last year, and they had to damn near start a wide receiver quarterback because of Drew Lock and those other guys' lack of leadership. So I think Taylor Heineke coming from ODU, he's gonna be disciplined. So I think if they don't want anybody in the draft, I mean, unless you want to go get a De'Aaron King in the 5th round or something like that, I mean, you just bring this guy in and give him a chance.
I need a leader. Give me a leader. That's all I want.
Before we go, James.
All right, first, Taylor Heineke, I don't know if he's going for a 3rd or a 4th, maybe a 4th to 5th, but if Denver could squeeze that, probably a good way to go. I don't think De'Aaron King's getting drafted. I feel like he's going to be an undrafted free agent that catches on somewhere, hopefully somewhere good. Number 1 quarterback, in my opinion, Matt Corral. Out of the SEC, been around Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin's been around a lot of NFL teams. Corral, man, he'd have to be my QB1.
I like him too. I'd give him a chance.
Does the injury concern you though, James? You know, you did get nicked up during the season.
I mean, he had an ankle injury in the little bowl game they played in. Mm-hmm. Ankle will heal up fine, more than likely. He's not throwing at the combine, not really doing any of the drills. He's going to wait for his pro day. Smart move. Heal up. Go head out there on your home turf where you know everything's going on. Show off for the draft. I feel like, he should be the first quarterback taken, but we'll see what happens.
All right. There it is. Now, ladies and gentlemen,
Atlanta don't take a quarterback.
You know what time it is.
Fire, 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 burn on. Fire, 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 burn on. Fire, 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 legacy on fire.
All right, it is time for Legacy on Fire. It's time to put out the fire here on Legacy on Fire. I'm going to start this one today with Mr. LT. LT, what are you going to put the fire out on, brother?
All right, NBA. I'm loving the game right now. I'm loving it. But I got a bone to pick. This NBA 75. The names that were left off. Okay, say what you want about Dwight Howard. I'm going to compare him to Anthony Davis, who did make it. Dwight Howard, 8-time All-Star, 5-time NBA First Team, 9-time All-NBA, 3-time NBA Defensive Player of the Year, 4-time NBA Defensive First Team, 5-time NBA Rebounding Leader, 2-time Block Leader, Slam Dunk Champion, and a chip. He has 6,000 more points than Anthony Davis, 8,000 more rebounds, 1,000 more blocks. What the hell is going on? Tracy McGrady, 7-time All-NBA, All-Star, and All-Star, 2-time scoring champ of the league. There's a guy called Bernard King. I don't know if y'all, maybe that's 285, but listen, this guy was one of the best scoring guys of his generation. We're talking about a Kevin Durant type, Kobe type player. 4-time All-Star, All-NBA. People like Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili. Bruh, what the hell going on? NBA, what the hell going on? I need to know.
I got to piggyback off that a little bit, Lamont. I don't understand it. I just do not understand why Dwight Howard is not on that team.
That doesn't make sense.
There's a lot of other names that I feel like they're a lot
no.
of people. But Dwight Howard is the main one.
Young Dwight Howard beat a young LeBron in the NBA in a series and took his team to the championship. And had it not been for a Lakers dynasty, probably would have got one early.
Exactly. Next one, we got Cody. Put out the fire, sir.
Hey, look, it's funny how, I guess reality hits you in the face. With NASCAR, like I was a huge Dale Earnhardt Jr. fan. And, it was this thing called Junior Nation, basically all of his fans. And everybody who didn't like Dale Jr., they could not stand Junior Nation, could not stand the fans, said the fans always whined and just made Dale Jr. seem like the best race car driver ever when he wasn't. And I'm now understanding those people who were saying that about Junior fans, because when I tell you the Chase Elliott fans out here are horrible. They are horrible. No, it's not him. It's not
Mike.
No, listen, when I tell you, so if you didn't see it in the race that happened on Sunday that just passed, Kyle Larson and Chase Elliott. Kyle Larson got into Chase Elliott, basically put him into the wall. Larson says it was by accident. He said his spotter didn't tell him that Chase Elliott was there. They're teammates, and Twitter exploded. I mean, Twitter, they were asking for Kyle Larson's head. And I go back and I look at this, and it's funny when you're looking at how Dale Jr. was. Dale Jr. basically won on super speedways. That's what he did. He won at Talladega. He won at Daytona. That's where the majority of his career wins came from. You look at Chase Elliott, it's like, yes, he's won on some oval tracks, but he has 13 career wins. Half of them have come on road courses. So it's just funny to see how, I guess he's won a championship, but the Chase Elliott fans think that he has a chance to win every single week. And over the past 2 to 3 years, he has shown if it's not a road course, it ain't happening.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you what. I mean, Larson has been on fire. I love what I've seen from him. I remember a long time ago, Cody. I know you remember when I first came up, when I first got you on the show, and I had you and Mike on, and y'all was like, "This is where you go," and they had me in between the fence on both of them. And now I don't even have a driver. I'm still on the fence on that. Carl was still my guy. I was a part of that Dale Nation for a little while, but he was starting to piss me off a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm gonna go from there. Let's see. Oh, Rob, let's put out the fire, brother.
All right, I've been listening to this show the last few weeks, and we've been talking about equality and all the other stuff in the NFL. Well, in my opinion, I feel like, especially as people of color, we need to stop talking about equality because it doesn't matter anymore. Make your own destiny. We need to stop talking about it because it's not going to mean nothing out here. And this is my example. Today, Cliff Kingsbury got an extension until 2027. He's 24-1. He was 35-40 coming into the NFL at Texas Tech. Kevin Sumlin had a lot to do with a lot of his success. Kevin Sumlin got screwed at Texas A&M, and then we saw a debacle at Arizona. Jim Caldwell, who I want to give credit to again, 62-50, 36-28 in Detroit, 26-22 in Indianapolis, Super Bowl appearance, including a 14-2 record. Went 2-14 the next season because Peyton Manning got hurt. So my thing is tonight is when it comes to equality and things like that, we just gotta be quiet about it and just handle our business because these people don't care. And one more thing, it is not the Washington RED whatever anymore. It's the Commanders. I mean, I'm not gonna call a white person the C word or the H word, and I'm not gonna say. And I know people may think that's funny, but I respect white people and I respect Native Americans. If Native Americans do not want to be called Redskins, do not call them Redskins. Like, it's disrespectful. And when I was doing the show In and Out, I had an emotion about it because it wasn't because they were changing the name. It's because I knew the NFL really didn't give a damn. They were just doing it for publicity to save money. If they really cared, they would really be on these reservations helping these Native American people, helping Black people even more. But I do not see the real change. They're talking about it. Every time you look during Black History Month, there's a little sign here or there, Black Lives Matter and all. But you don't know the truth, man. It's all publicity. Give me some real results, and then I'll be happy about it, okay? I'm done.
I'm going to piggyback one thing off of what Rob said. The other thing that bothered me really bad with that is now all of a sudden they want to sing, lift every voice and sing on each one, which I love the song, but I feel like you're just using it just to make it look like you care. Just like, I'm going to leave it alone because I'm going to get too deep in there. James, time to put out the fire.
Another tough week of following up a great tape. I'm gonna take it back to the Lakers, kind of, tying the show back into the beginning. When it comes to the Lakers fans, the current construction of your team, this is what you asked for when you signed on to bring in LeBron James. And we know how LeBron James operates. It's about winning now, championships now, sacrificing the future. And for the Lakers fans, you're kind of seeing those sacrifices come to fruition a little bit earlier than anticipated. I mean, they've traded all the assets they had to acquire Anthony Davis and put guys around this team to kind of help propel them forward. We saw it come to fruition in 2020 with them winning the bubble pandemic championship. This is what you asked for. I mean, when LeBron comes in, the team gets older, the young guys disappear. He maybe keeps around one or two that he might like. We thought Kuzma was going to be that guy. Then Kuzma had to go. Now it's looking like Malik Monk might be that young guy. Who knows? He might be gone next season. Lakers fans, this is what you asked for. This is what you wanted. It's happened sooner than expected, but you got one ring out of it. Enjoy it. Might be the last one you get.
You did. And to be fair, LeBron is not underperforming. Let's be real.
He's not. But that's always been the issue. It's not him underperforming. The pieces around him are underperforming because these guys have a lot of miles, a lot of minutes. That's a lot of wear and tear on your body. Melo's what, 37, 38? Mm-hmm. And he wasn't always in the best shape.
Again, it happened before him. Kobe Bryant. You brought in the Karl Malone. You brought in Steve Nash. It was like, oh, we going to do some things. Gary Payton. Yeah, Steve what Nash happened? Still not a goddamn old thing. So, yeah.
and they took that L. And they tell you it was crazy. But, Lakers fans.
Cashing checks, though.
I ain't gonna lie to you. Watching the Lakers fans on the timeline has been amazing. I've been truly enjoying watching the low-key demise on that one. All right, y'all. This is my put out the fire. And Cody touched on it a little bit earlier. We talked about it a little bit earlier. Wrestling fans. Why are we complaining? I know there's a beef with AEW and WWE, but why are we not just sitting back and enjoying this great time in wrestling? I mean, this Ring of Honor move by Tony Khan today isn't a great move for wrestling because all in the past, we've always all about Vince buys his person out, Vince buys his person out, Vince buys his person out. Well, guess what AEW said? I get top that. I'm going to go buy Ring of Honor, a very productive wrestling organization, and they brought that to be a part of what they got going on. Some fans complain about, Khan is doing too much too fast, or he brings in old WWE guys. But the old WWE guys that he brings in, guess what? They weren't getting no shine in WWE. Now they're getting opportunities in AEW that I like to see. So wrestling fans, just sit back and enjoy wrestling, man. Sit back and enjoy what we're getting a chance to see right now. That's all I got to say about that.
Oh, Darrell, by the way, also, if nobody knows, every Sunday night around 11:35 p.m., Ring of Honor have been doing their Hall of Famers. They've been showing CM Punk matches, Samoa Joe. Very good. Very good.
Yeah, see, you got to check that out. See, that's what I'm saying. I think that's a really good move by AEW, ladies and gentlemen. All right, that is it for this week's episode of Legacy on Fire, episode 24. And I'm so glad to have all of you with us tonight. Jay, missed you tonight, man. Hope to have you back on next week. But before we get out of here, everybody, I want to hear what you got to say. James, anything you got to say before we get out of here?
Another great week, another great episode. Looking forward to next week, man.
All right, LT.
I appreciate y'all, man, for sure. Y'all stay safe out there. Rob, it was good. It was good to get you on, man. It's been a minute, so appreciate it.
Rob, what you got, my man?
Go to Cody first. Let me go last.
All right, Cody, what you got, my man?
This is me hitting fast forward for next week. I'm ready to go ahead and start doing some more talking for next week.
All right. Rob, what you got for us, brother?
I'm surprised this topic wasn't on here, but let me say real quick, and I should have. This is a little bit my put out the fire as well. Baseball, Major League Baseball. I'm so disappointed in you. This country, this world has gone through a pandemic, and the hotels, the local workers have suffered. And now you're telling me that you're going to lock out at a time like this? Baseball may cease to exist, and it burns my heart up. And the sadder thing is, last time we had a lockout, the Braves won a championship. Braves win a championship, we got a lockout. So maybe the Braves need to stop winning championships.
Hey, yeah, I agree. Don't do Atlanta like that. Don't do Atlanta like that.
I don't like it.
I'm a Braves fan. I mean, look right here. I don't know if you can see it.
There it is. But it doesn't matter.
But look, besides all that, what I'm saying is that, you got to do a better job. Rob Manfred either needs to get something done and Scott Boras needs to get out the way. Scott Boras is a problem because all he thinks about is the money, and I know money is important, but Scott Boras is a huge problem. They need to find a way to kind of get him out the way because we need to get baseball going because baseball has potential to be very good.
I think Manfred might be the worst commissioner
ever.
It's easy. It's easy. And it's not even close. It's not even close. All I care about, we need baseball back so this team could decide to finally make the playoffs. And if we get that expanded playoffs, it might actually happen, ladies and gentlemen. All right, everybody. I'm Darrell Lawrence. This is James Brown, Lamonte Thomas, Robb Johnson, Cody Stewart. This is Legacy on Fire. We'll see y'all back next week for episode 25.